we just try to be original. The Slayer's Slayer, Exodus is Exodus, Forbidden is Forbidden. We stay in our own lane. We're influenced by new wave of British heavy metal with some hardcore and some punk overtones, stuff like that. We know where we're at. We're not disillusioned. We're an underground thrash metal band, and we're proud of what we do.
What's up, everybody? It's Keefy at GhostCultMag.com once again, and I am stoked to be joined by Juan of the Dead of Evil Dead. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing great.
This is amazing. I'm so pumped. The new album, Toxic Grace, is coming out soon. Shout out to our man, John Freeman, for putting us together from Freeman Promotions. Longtime Evil Dead fan and stan. Just so hyped for this new record. You put out the last record at the worst possible time in the world, but you still put the record out, which I thought was, like strong. We needed new music to help us back then, and hopefully now Toxic Grace gets it definitely lives up to the hype, but I hope it gets the pub it deserves.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Putting out a record during COVID was not the greatest thing. Like you mentioned, it had to be done. I mean, we were working on it. Oh, sorry, lost the camera there for a second. We had to get it done. We were working on it, so we decided to put it out.
Yeah, no worries. I'm always the kind of, listen, man, I had a very tough time. I moved from Brooklyn to the Bay Area during that time. And I talked to a lot of bands and legendary artists, and they were like, I couldn't make any music. I didn't want to record. I had a record I was sitting on. I didn't want to do anything with it. Some people recorded records before and then just didn't put them out till 21 or 22. Because the world, or even just like vinyl, pressing times and merch lines and stuff like that. So like, I never throw shade on anyone who's like, yo, I couldn't do anything during that time. Other people are like, I was an introvert and I made so much music and I had the time of my life never leaving the house. So everybody's different,
Totally. For us, it was just the recording process was a little difficult. But other than that, I mean, everything kind of slowed down for everybody, and it really sucked. But hey, man, I mean, we made it through it, and here we are now.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Yeah. I can't believe, I think it was something. I'm sure it was worse for you playing gigs to not play any gigs. And actually, funny enough, my last public event before the pandemic the Demi Lovato, was I hung out with Ice at the Carnivore release streaming event from media and fans at Sony Square in New York City, literally like March the 3rd. The album came out like March the 6th. March the 3rd, we all went to Sony Hall. We took pictures. I got to meet Ice and be like, yo, I'm from the Bronx. I grew up worshiping you as a rapper and then as a hardcore metal guy. This is amazing. And he was like, cool, I like a lot of New York rap. And that was like, that little interaction carried me for like a year, man. Like, cause that's all I had. And it's still like my profile picture and some of my socials and stuff like that. And it's such a, there's a new Body Count record coming, but Evil Dead Toxic Grace is coming first. And it's a banger, man. And, I think part of the reason that you guys have been so successful since the comeback in terms of just consistent is Evil Dead was always like a very original band. Obviously thrash metal, West Coast thrash, all those elements, LA, all these things. But I always felt like the reason I love the band is because like everybody else was trying to be Slayer or Metallica, and Evil Dead is like, we're Evil Dead. And always, most of the lineup is here intact, for the last like 30 years, more or less, with a few exceptions. And, I always felt like you guys were a highly original band for a very thick scene with a lot of groups.
Yeah, I mean, totally. We just try to be as original as possible. Going back to that March 3rd thing you were talking about. Yeah, I mean, we were getting ready to come out and to New York and play with Cro-Mags with Body Count, and we were even supposed to do the Jimmy Fallon show. We had something planned out for that. So yeah, it shut everything down, messed up the Carnivore tour for Body Count. Yeah, COVID was tough. Now back to Evil Dead. Yeah, like you mentioned, we just try to be original. The Slayer's Slayer, Exodus is Exodus, Forbidden is Forbidden. We stay in our own lane. We do what we do. We're influenced by new wave of British heavy metal with some hardcore and some punk overtones, stuff like that. And some, we actually influence each other as well from our past works we've all done. So yeah, we just try to be as original as possible. That's really what Evil Dead's about. We know where we're at. We're not disillusioned. We're an underground thrash metal band, and we're proud of what we do.
Fuck yeah, man. And I before Evil Dead, you had obviously other pretty well-known bands in the scene. And I wanted to ask you just as a fan, because my life experience is that like when I first started going to shows, hardcore kids and thrash and metal kids hated each other, and it was scary. As a metal guy with long hair and always a Metallica shirt on, my hardcore friends were like, "You could come to the matinee, but you might get beat up." And I was like, "Well, I'm already getting my ass kicked every day at home by my mean dad. I don't really want to get my face punched in at a hardcore show." It was like, just hide in the back. Don't let anybody see your long hair. Keep your hoodie on. Keep your hat.
Right.
Put your hair under your hat, dumbass. But I don't know how, like, was it like, because, and I know Boston was also like cats and dogs. Was LA like that too for punks and metalheads? Because hardcore and thrash kind
Absolutely.
of developed at the same time, right? Like literally
In the
parallel.
Yeah, in the 80s it was like that. I remember I was in Hollywood at the time, and I went by the Roxy Theater, and the band Fear was playing out. And I liked Fear, but I'll tell you one thing: if you went to a Fear concert and you got long hair, you were definitely going to get your ass kicked. They were going to try to take your leather jacket. It just that's the way it was back then. And so yeah, man. I mean, I would say, yeah, it's no fun being a metalhead liking punk in hardcore back in the day. I mean, now obviously it's all good, but not in the 80s.
Right.
And
And
probably not in the late 70s either, right?
oh, for sure, for sure. And at what point, what was there like a year, or was there an event? Was there a period of time where Black Flag played with, one metal band, and then it was all cool? Because I know Black Flag were like not metal fans at all. Like those, like
No, no.
Ginn and Dukowski hated metal a lot.
Yeah. No, I don't think there ever was one. I mean, ironically, you mentioned Black Flag. We covered Rise Above because on our it's like a single EP with a couple Evil Dead songs. We just like Black Flag. We like the energy they brought forth. We just our version's a little different than theirs, of course. But I don't know. I think about the time the Crumbsuckers and maybe when SOD came out, maybe that helped a little bit. Kind of that's kind of how I see it, maybe. But nah, man, it was a division there for sure for a while.
Right on. I'm glad you mentioned SOD. First of all, you cannot get away with making Speak English or Die today. But that record
No,
deserves a lot of credit for a variety of things, blast beats in mass quantities, and the humor. And I think Evil Dead has always had that really smart sense of humor. I think it's an LA thing. Could be a Cheech and Chong thing. It could be just a cultural
yeah,
thing. Like there's always like a really smart sense of humor in Evil Dead songs, and there is on Toxic Grace too.
yeah, that's. I'm glad you bring that up. Yeah, you're right. SOD could not make that record today. I mean, they probably could, but I don't know how it would be accepted. We have the same kind of cynical point of view about things. We don't take things too serious. I mean, it's for me myself. I look at it as like a Quentin Tarantino movie. First of all, I do this for fun, and music is supposed to be fun. So if you're not having fun, man, you're just in the wrong situation. So as far as Evil Dead, thrash metal, yeah, we like to have fun with it. We like to keep things a bit cynical and have fun, man. That's really what it's all about. And play music that you enjoy.
Well, I mean, like if you're not having fun, it's gonna show, and then why even do it? We all
I
want to be
agree.
we all want to be successful, but you have to be your own first fan. That's a lesson I learned playing a long time in bands. You got to be a fan of yourself first.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're fans of thrash metal. And hopefully that reflects in our music.
Hell yeah. I mean, like I said, again, so many directions to cut and take it in. And just like in terms of just kind of like the scene back then where you got, because I know there was like a lot of crossover and Suicidal and all the related Suicidal bands, Excel and No Mercy and stuff like that. Were you guys kind of in that scene too, or kind of a little outside of it?
We're a little outside of the Venice scene. I knew of Excel, of course, being a Suicidal fan myself. Even bands like Beowulf, that's another band, Neighborhood Watch. These are West Coast, LA, Venice area bands. Yeah, but we were a little outside of it. We would play more with like coming up in the scene, like Dark Angel, did shows with Testament. So we were more a little bit on the metal side of it, but we could also turn around and do a show with a hardcore band. But we didn't do as many, But our first show was at the Fenders Ballroom, which is a kind of a punk hardcore scene, but they also did metal there. It was in Long Beach. It was with Possessed and Dark Angel and Cryptic Slaughter. So that's kind of how where things got started for us back in '87.
What a time to be alive that Cryptic Slaughter was doing shows just recently and put a little release out, and you guys have a record coming out again. Like, what a good time for metalheads.
Yeah,
And
for sure, man. I mean, I'm grateful that we're doing what we're doing.
the little thrasher in me is really excited. Let me tell you, like the teenage Keefy is very excited. Like I want to see Cryptic Slaughter so bad. I missed them. They played a festival not far from me, and I was out of town somewhere else. This is
Right.
the life of the attempted music journalist and other career guy also. So what are you gonna
Sure,
do?
sure.
Can't catch them all. It's not Pokemon. Can't catch them all.
Well,
But
that's what's great about YouTube. You know, you can always catch it. Hopefully it's up on YouTube.
yeah, no. I want people to go to shows though. So if I can't go, I hope everyone else is going. Like, please
No, absolutely.
don't stay home and watch YouTube on your TV and think that that's a substitute for being next to like some smelly guy moshing in the mosh pit or being at the rail and headbanging. I mean, like yeah, we mentioned offline. I saw Forbidden. My first time seeing them back. They've played a few shows with Norman on vocals. Phenomenal. They played nothing past 1990. I don't think they're ever going to do such an old school set ever again. I was in all my glory for an hour. It was insane. And
Yeah, they're a great band. One of my favorite records from those is Twist into Form.
my absolute favorite. Oh my god! And then Biohazard was the headliner over Forbidden at their own festival because Biohazard.
Another great band, man. I mean, Billy and Evan. I'm so glad that they are back together and doing their stuff. Evil Dead did some shows with them at some festival in Czech Republic and also in Belgium last year, and they were great, man. They're just top form, great guys and killer band.
Absolutely. And Billy is one of the coolest and nicest people I have ever met in the whole music industry. He is a gem of a human being.
For sure, no doubt about that. And he's got a cool band too, called another band called Power Flow, which I think people should check out with Christian from Fear Factory and Violence on bass.
Yep. Yeah, Power Flow's dope with Sendog and all the things.
Yeah,
do all the things.
Sendog, right?
Producing other bands in his studio. Firewall.
He's also working with Beowulf.
Yeah, Beowulf, Beowulf's coming back. Yeah.
Yeah. Sendog's great. Power Flow.
Oh, so such a great dude. I highly recommend people, if you love Cypress Hill, go watch that recent documentary on them. I think it's on Showtime or streaming on demand or whatever. Super cool, and it actually really talks about like not to sidebar. They were also punk fans and metal fans, and that story of Cypress Hill and rap mirrors kind of LA culture a lot. So if you really want to really dive deep into like street culture and fashion and graffiti and skate and motorcycle clubs and car culture and really like Latino culture in Southern California, that Cypress Hill documentary is very multifaceted. If you love music, you will love that thing. But yeah, man, this record is so deep, and I love that it's like super unskippable. It's fast, it's to the point, there's no filler, there's no fat, there's no extra. We did the chorus 4 times at the end, none of that. So I love that. Yeah, man, let's just to unpack a little more of Toxic Grace, man. I know what my favorite songs on the album are. Obviously, people are probably be very familiar with Raising Fresh Hell, the single, but I really love Bathe in Fire, World of Rats, and Fear Porn, which is like really speaks to the times we're living in right now. These are really killer songs. The whole thing's killer, though. Do you have favorites?
I do, as a matter of fact. I agree with you 100%. One of my favorite tracks is Fear Porn. I just love the catch, how the riff is so catchy on that. One of the songs that I really like a lot. I also like the song Reverie is kind of like a dreamy kind of song, but the riffs are really kick ass on that one. Also, our opening track, FAFO, which stands for Fuck Around and Find Out, it's about guns and stuff like that, violence. It's another strong, catchy song. I also like, we used to call it SOP, which that was the name of the song, and it ended up being called Stupid on Parade. It's got a lot of, different influences from death metal to thrash to speed metal. A lot of this one little section where it has a lot of guitar harmonies, kind of like in kind of Iron Maiden, maybe Chuck from Death kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, this whole album is we took our time with it and really focused on the parts and really had fun with it, and our influences show, I think, on this album a lot.
100%, my friend. So what's going, like, the album's coming out on SPV Steamhammer, the excellent label. I know you have a lot on your plate with body count record soon to be announced and coming. Are we going to get some shows? Can we expect any kind of touring? Is it too hard to do at this stage? What's going to happen?
May 24th. Yeah, Toxic Grace comes out on Steamhammer. Also available through Napalm Records here in the US, which is great. They're affiliated now together. So we're playing here on the 16th of August and on the West Coast in LA at the Terragram Ballroom with Whiplash. That should be a really good show. I'm going out to Europe in a few weeks with Body Count for a month. So the moment we get back, we have that show on the 16th of August, and we're also doing the California Death Fest Volume 7 in Oakland with Sodom and Sacrifice. Hyrax is on the bill, and Evil Dead, and there's going to be probably a lot of other bands. So we look forward to these two West Coast shows to play some new material from the new Toxic Grace Evil Dead record. So I'm really excited about that.
Amazing. You will see me in Oakland, man. We'll raise it up together, and love to
Hell yeah, man.
see you again and meet you again in person for the second time and see the band live finally. And
yeah,
I will be there with bells on. Believe me.
Nice. Well, let's hang on that. That's awesome, man. We look forward to these two shows coming up. As far as Europe with Evil Dead, I think it's too early to tell. The new album is our focus at the moment. I would say probably any touring would be 2025 with Evil Dead, and I'll be all in Europe all in June with Body Count. I'm excited about that as well.
Fantastic. We're also extremely stoked for any new. As soon as we get some Body Count news, the fans are going to know. A post is going to go up on ghostcoldman.com. That's what we do. We are Body Count for life, bro. Body Count in the house. Always one of the dead of Evil Dead. Thank you, brother, for hanging out with me today and hanging with Ghost Cult.
Yeah, thank you. And we love your support and really appreciate everything you do.